After my confession failed, I was too humiliated to face her again. I avoided the school beauty every chance I got. Then, 10 years later, I turned that buried crush into a novel and a movie. But during casting, the lead actress suddenly asked me, was the hero really the only one in love? I froze. Why would you think that? She paused, opened my novel. In this chapter, he has a stomachache. She does his chores and runs out to buy him medicine. Then, in the next chapter, he gets hurt in a bike crash. She takes him to the hospital, and while the doctor treats his wound, she gives him her own hand to bite through the pain. Mr. Lin, a girl doesn't do all that unless she actually likes him. I denied it instantly. She was just kind to everyone. She's kind to everyone around her. She shook her head, her gaze certain. Mr. Lin, you really don't understand women. At least I could never do that for a man I don't like. I didn't explain further and looked down to take a bite of my dessert. She didn't know that the reason I denied it so quickly was because back then, I had gathered all my courage to confess to the school beauty Su Manya. So, I hid my feelings for her in the school broadcast scripts, waiting for her to read them. Until the last Friday before the college entrance exams, I asked her to meet me at the end of the final script. Su Manya, after you finish the broadcast, let's go to the cat shelter to see the kittens. I have something to tell you. Those were kittens we had rescued together, which made it more meaningful. Plus, with me writing and her reading every Friday, there was this unspoken understanding between us. She would definitely see it once she read the script. I believed she would show up, and when she arrived, I would personally hand her the letter carrying my heart. But I waited at the shelter until dark, and waited until the rain started falling. She never came. I ran back to school through the pouring rain, and saw Su Manya in the classroom. Just as I was about to go in and ask for an explanation, I heard someone ask her, who was it that asked you to meet? Why didn't you go? Just stay here and shelter from the rain with us. Rainwater dripped from my hair. I was soaked to the bone, and my heart turned cold. My secret love was like this rainstorm, arriving suddenly, leaving quietly, leaving behind only a damp, secret heartache that no one knew. Until 10 years later, I wrote about this crush in a novel to find closure. Unexpectedly, Su Manya, now a top star in the industry, volunteered to act in it. On the day we discussed the collaboration, I spotted that familiar figure immediately, the person I had only seen on TV, on billboards, and in phone notifications since graduation. Su Manya wore a black haute couture gown, surrounded by a crowd as she entered the venue. Her aura was completely different from everyone else's. When her eyes met mine, my heart still skipped a beat. I tried to greet her calmly. Hello, I am Lin. The words were on my lips, but she had already looked away. I lowered my eyes, with a faint, bitter smile. She didn't recognize me at all. Finally, we get to meet Mr. Muchi in person. We've always loved your novels, especially this one, Nobody Knows. It's beautifully written. We truly hope we can collaborate. The manager's words made the atmosphere enthusiastic, but I couldn't understand. Su Manya is a top star at the peak of her career. She must have plenty of great scripts to choose from. Why would she lower herself to star in a story written by an obscure author? Has Miss Su also read this novel? Do you really want to act in it? When I blurted out my doubts, I was stunned by my own boldness, but it was too late to take it back. Su Manya's eyes were scanning me, and she suddenly let out a soft laugh. Is Mr. Muchi questioning my professionalism? I'm taking this role because I want to. Hearing this, I felt a sudden tremor in my heart. Before I could process it, the office door was pushed open again. A handsome man walked in briskly. The man was Gu Yuchen, the most popular young actor right now. He walked straight to Su Manya and gently took her hand with a tender smile. Sorry, I'm late. The traffic was terrible. I didn't do it on purpose. Okay? Su Manya smiled slightly, her expression softening. After he sat down, he turned his gaze toward me. You must be Mr. Muchi. I read the novel. It's fantastic. The crush is depicted as both realistic and bittersweet, as if it were a personal experience. I gave a polite smile. Thank you for the compliment. Gu Yuchen looked at Su Manya again, shaking her arm lightly. Is everything settled? Let Manya play the female lead, and I'll play the male lead. You can guide me through the acting. Suddenly, I seemed to understand the reason why Su Manya insisted on taking the role. A wave of suffocation surged in my chest, and I felt utterly humiliated for my own delusions. Just as the contract was about to be signed, I suddenly stood up. Today is a bit too rushed. Let's talk another day. A brief silence of bewilderment filled the room. After a while, someone spoke up. Mr. Lin, are you changing your mind because of me? The one asking was Gu Yuchen, but Su Manya's gaze was also on me, as if she were also waiting for an answer. I avoided everyone's gaze and made up an excuse on the spot. I promised my fans that if Nobody Knows were to be adapted, they should be involved in the casting process. The manager tried to negotiate further, but Su Manya had already stood up. In that case, we won't disturb you further. After saying that, the group stood up and left. My partner, Yu hurriedly stood up to see them out, talking about future collaborations. When I was left alone in the office, I leaned back in my chair and let out a long sigh. 3 days later was the 10-year high school reunion. By the time I arrived, many people had already gathered in the private room. Time flows like water. Almost everyone had changed. The once tall and thin class monitor was now a plump, honest man with a beer belly. The class beauty who once longed for freedom was now a mother of 2. I found a seat and sat down, listening to them talk about the legendary figures of their school days. As they talked, Su Manya's name came up. Hey, I can't believe the national goddess Su Manya is actually our classmate. She was already outstanding back then. She was beautiful and had a lovely voice. So many guys joined the broadcasting station just for her. Right, exactly. Especially the Friday episode of Endless Voices. Her voice was so gentle. Reading those passages felt so special. Someone wondered how she became a star. I thought she'd become a host. Zhao Qing, who was close to Su Manya, chimed in. Tell me about it. It's actually quite strange. She was originally responsible for Monday's scripts, but she insisted on switching to Friday. She didn't even look at the schedule. When asked why, she just smiled and stayed silent. Everyone laughed it off, but I froze. Just as I was about to ask more, the door to the private room was pushed open. Su Manya walked in. Sorry I'm late. Today she wore a simple white dress, with a jacket over it. A completely different style from the other day, but she was still the center of attention. And behind her was Gu Yuchen. He was wearing a trendy new jacket. Standing together, they looked like the leads of a youth drama. Gu Yuchen gave a sweet smile. Hello, everyone.
I'm Gu Yuchen.
Manya's junior. I had the nerve to tag along with her. I hope you guys don't mind? The room went silent for a second. Then, a burst of cheers erupted. Of course we welcome a handsome guy and a beauty. Such a feast for the eyes. My eyes are blessed today. Classmates crowded around them as they sat down, teasing them excitedly. Manya, we were just talking about you, and then you just appeared. Su Manya asked back, talking about what? Zhao Feng said, in high school you stopped playing ball every Friday, just to read scripts at the broadcasting station. It was like you became a different person. Now that you're here, be honest, was it for someone? For some reason, I looked at Su Manya too.
Su Manya smiled,
admitting it calmly. Yes, looks like everyone had their first crush. Even the top student, the great Su, is no exception. Everyone laughed and dropped the subject. I froze in place once again. Then, Gu Yuchen looked at me in surprise.
Mr. Muji.
It really is you. So you and Manya were high school classmates? What a coincidence. As he spoke, he nudged Su Manya beside him. Sister Manya, when we discussed the collaboration last time, why didn't you tell me you and Mr. Lin were classmates? Only then did Su Manya look at me. Her gaze swept across my face, devoid of emotion. I didn't recognize him then, although I knew she hadn't recognized me. Hearing her admit it personally still left a bitter taste in my heart. The party ended soon after. I walked outside, taking out my phone to call a cab. Gu Yuchen suddenly approached me, saying with a smile, Mr. Lin, I really hope we can collaborate. I truly love that novel. I looked up and unexpectedly met the eyes of Su Manya, who was standing behind him. She just stood there, her gaze resting on me, but I couldn't understand it. Her eyes were faint, as if veiled by a layer of mist. I looked away and replied, I'll start a poll on WB as soon as possible, to let the fans help with the casting. He nodded, smiling gently. I'll be waiting for your good news then. Then he turned and, together with Su Manya, got into the luxury van parked by the road. 3 days later, for the sake of fairness and to give the fans an answer, Changyu and I decided to hold open auditions. Most of the actors who came were chosen by fan votes. Of course, there were a few rookies pushed in by investors. Su Manya arrived early. Gu Yuchen was standing beside her. Seeing me approach, he handed me a milk tea. Mr. Lin, my treat today. Try this, the fruit tea here is delicious. Just as I reached out to take it, a hand intercepted me. Change the drink. He's allergic to pineapple. Su Manya's voice was flat. Gu Yuchen's expression shifted, and he immediately apologized. Sorry, I saw a pineapple charm on Mr. Lin's bag, and thought he liked pineapple flavor. Changyu happened to hear this as he walked in, and added, Mu Chi is allergic to pineapple, but he loves buying everything pineapple-shaped. His phone case and keychain are pineapple-themed. Anyone who didn't know him would think he loved pineapples. As he spoke, Changyu suddenly turned to ask Su Manya,
MS. Su.
You and Mu Chi were classmates. Was he like this in high school too?
Su Manya nodded.
Yes. Pineapple stickers on his water bottle, on his notebook too. He even put one on his broadcasting scripts. My heart skipped a beat. I had almost forgotten those youthful habits. Yet she remembered. The audition began 10 minutes later. I gave Changyu a quick wave and headed inside. Su Manya watched that hurried retreating figure, her gaze deep and heavy. Who knows what she was thinking? The audition officially started. 2/3 of the actors had already auditioned, but my heart remained completely still. They were all excellent, but none fit the image of the male lead I wrote. The 352nd person, Su Manya, walked in. She had changed her clothes, wearing a blue school uniform, with her hair in a high ponytail. Sunlight streamed in diagonally from the window, casting a soft, radiant glow over her. In this moment, it felt as if time had flowed back 10 years. Exactly like the boy in my memories. The scene Su Manya was auditioning for was about the male lead winning first place in an essay contest, only to be framed for plagiarism by the runner-up. When the male lead returned to the classroom, the students were buzzing with gossip. Some even mocked him to his face. Some people shouldn't write if they can't, and then they plagiarize. What a disgrace to our class. So the essay god was just a fraud? Even if I plagiarize, I can still write well. That was when the female lead stepped forward to stand up for the male lead. The director looked around. His gaze landed on me. Mr. Lin, you're the only guy here. Help Manya with a scene. Before I could refuse, the director shouted, "Action." Su Manya immediately got into character. She walked toward me, shielding me behind her. Then, she suddenly changed. Her eyes swept sharply across the crowd. Where's the evidence? Her voice wasn't loud, but it was commanding. Slandering a classmate without proof. Are you seeking justice or just venting your jealousy? Her back was straight, like a wall protecting me. Then she turned to look at me, her peach blossom eyes full of tenderness. I believe in you. In that moment, I stared blankly at her profile, unable to tell if this was the scene or reality. After the audition, everyone applauded. The director was very satisfied. I joined in the applause, but suddenly I had a realization. Perhaps true closure means letting go. The day I finished this novel, my secret crush should have ended. I returned to the office, found Changyu, and officially told her that, for nobody knows, I no longer planned to make it a TV series. Changyu was drinking water and nearly choked. What did you say? Everything is almost ready. Why stop now? I told her exactly what I was thinking. You were right back then. The female lead I wrote was Su Manya. At first, I wanted to film it, but during auditions, no matter who acted, it felt wrong. Even with her herself. Then I realized, I poured 10 years of emotion into this. It shouldn't be consumed like a commercial product. Changyu was silent for a long time, and finally nodded. Alright, I respect your decision. Afterward, Changyu began coordinating with everyone, apologizing to the actors and teams who auditioned. I also logged into WB to post a statement. After careful consideration, I have decided to terminate the adaptation of Nobody Knows. During the preparation phase, I felt this work is better preserved in written form. I poured a lot of emotion into this novel, and I want to keep it in the time that belonged to her. I sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused. The statement quickly trended. The comments were divided. Some fans expressed understanding and support. Others thought I was just chasing traffic and teasing fans. But none of that mattered anymore. I planned to go north to find inspiration for my next book. Before leaving, I took my cat to that old shelter for boarding. 10 years had passed, and the owner had grown from a naive youth to a mature adult. I didn't expect her to remember me. You're the boy who saved the kitten, and then adopted it back then, right? I can't believe it's been 10 years, and I'm seeing you again. You've taken such good care of it. I nodded with a smile. He's still a bit shy. Please take good care of him while I'm gone. I'll contact you when I'm back. After settling the cat, I prepared to leave. The owner called out to me again. She opened a drawer, took out a letter, and handed it to me. You left this behind back then. I've been keeping it. Can it finally return to its owner? I looked down and froze for a moment. It was the love letter I never sent. Back then, I rushed from the shelter back to school, thinking I had lost it in the rain. As I took it, I suddenly felt that this letter, once full of longing, was now as light as a fallen leaf. I thanked the owner and left. There was a green trash can outside the shelter. I casually tossed the letter on the lid, and then headed to the airport. Not far away, Su Manya had just finished dinner with a few of her friends. Her phone suddenly rang. She opened it and saw my announcement regarding Nobody Knows, stating the rights would not be sold. She froze in her tracks until her friends called her, and she snapped back to reality. After saying goodbye, she walked slowly along the road. Passing by a cat shelter, she instinctively walked inside, her gaze caught by a gray cat. That cat looked exactly like the kitten she and I saved that year. Thinking of this, Su Manya gave a self-deprecating smile. 10 years. Simply impossible. The owner came out to greet her. Miss, are you here to adopt a cat or buy cat food? Su Manya snapped out of it and shook her head. She walked out of the shelter, looking lost. Just as she was about to call her assistant, a casual glance caught her eye. A letter lay on the green trash lid. On it was a single line.
Su Manya,
You've read my script so many times. This time, please read my heart. Su Manya leaned down and picked up the letter. The envelope was from the Nanjing High School radio station. The school logo and a microphone icon were printed in the corner. The envelope was slightly damp, the edges curling slightly, but the seal was still intact. The moment her fingers touched the envelope, it was as if she were back in high school. Back then, every Friday afternoon, she would arrive at the radio station 10 minutes early, just to be the first to see my scripts. For 2 whole years, she never missed a day. With trembling hands, she opened the letter. The paper had yellowed, but the handwriting was still clear.
Su Manya,
I'm so glad you came to the shelter for our date. So by the time you read this, we should be watching the kittens together. Some things should be said in person, but I still want to use the clumsiest way to write it down. Do you remember? Freshman year, my essay was read aloud as a model piece in class. After class, you walked up to me with a smile and said, "Your writing is so beautiful. You should be a writer someday." The sunlight was dazzling that day, but your smile and those words crashed straight into my heart. I thought, because of those words, I could definitely persevere on this path. Later I found out the Monday and Tuesday broadcasts were your voice, so I worked hard on scripts, worked hard to submit them, just for one more chance, to hear you read the words I wrote. Later, Fridays, Everlasting Life, became my column, and you became the regular Friday announcer. I don't know if it was fate or coincidence, but I was secretly happy for a long time. Every time I wrote, I hid the words I dared not say, between the lines, afraid you'd notice, yet afraid you'd know nothing. But people are always greedy. After writing so many unspoken words, and hearing your voice so many times, I began to be unsatisfied. In these high school years, you read countless scripts of mine, and this last time, I don't want to hide anymore. I want to tell you personally, the secrets hidden in the words, they are all. I like you. If you feel the same, let's raise this little kitten together in the future. If you don't, I understand. I sincerely wish you to be bright and dazzling, and your road ahead to be smooth. Lin Jingze, June 3, 2016. Su Manya finished the last word. She felt as if she were nailed to the spot. The letter wasn't long, but she read it for a long time, over and over, again and again. Every time, felt like a blunt knife, slowly cutting into her heart. Back then, she never received this letter. She remembers that day. She went to the broadcasting station as usual. She read all the scripts for that day, but she didn't see the part where I asked her to go to the cat shelter to see the kitten. "Miss," a voice came from behind. Su Manya snapped back, turned to look. It was the cat shelter owner, looking at her with confusion. The owner stepped closer, studying her carefully. "I thought you looked familiar. Were you 10 years ago the one who boarded a cat here with Mr. Lin?"
Su Manya remained silent.
Didn't speak. 10 minutes ago, Mr. Lin came to my shop. He pointed to the shop and boarded that kitten here. It's the same one from back then. He adopted it later.
Su Manya froze,
Gripping the letter in her hand, but asked, why did he board it? He said he was going on a long trip, and it wasn't convenient to bring it. If you had come a bit earlier, you might have run into him. As soon as he finished, Su Manya's phone rang. She took out her phone and saw a WB notification. I posted a new update. Due to many recent distractions, I haven't been able to focus on creating. Now that I finally have some peace, I've decided to let my heart settle. Therefore, the account will be on hiatus for a while. For better creation, I will go experience life and capture inspiration. See you in the new book. Wishing everyone a smooth life. Below this WB post was the statement terminating the film adaptation. 2 WB posts together left Su Manya's mind blank. She stared at the words on the screen. A strange panic surged in her heart.
Su Manya.
The assistant's voice came from behind, running over out of breath.
Sis.
Why did you run here? The company called, saying there's an emergency, and you need to go back immediately. There's a problem with the new drama. It needs to be rearranged. Su Manya's fingers turned white as she gripped the phone. Standing still. Sis, what's wrong? After a long while, she closed her eyes, carefully folded the letter, put it back in the envelope, and placed it in the inner pocket of her clothes. I'm fine. Let's go. Back to the company. After I posted the hiatus update on WB, I turned off my phone and boarded the plane to Beijing. The plane pierced through the clouds. The sunlight outside was blinding. I leaned back in the seat, closed my eyes, and had a rare good sleep. After arriving in Beijing, I met a few fellow screenwriter friends, some at a cafe in a hutong, some at a restaurant in Sanlitun. They talked about works, talked about life, talked about the bottlenecks where words wouldn't come. They asked about the sudden cancellation of the project. I didn't say much, so they didn't ask further. I wandered through Beijing alone, went to the Forbidden City, went to the Summer Palace, went to Nanluoguxiang, went to those hutongs full of life. I sat by the road watching passersby, listened to strangers' voices at the echo wall of the Temple of Heaven, watched young people laughing and playing at the Shikahai ice rink. I slowly felt the things blocking my heart were loosening bit by bit. A week later, Chang Yu sent a message. Jingze, the film adaptation of your Old Alleys of Changnan is also moving forward. An actor is quite interested and happens to be in Beijing right now. You two should meet. I'll send you the time and place. I agreed. 3 days later, at the appointed time, arrived at a private restaurant deep in the hutongs. I pushed open the door to the private room. I paused for a moment. The person inside stood up with a clean and sincere smile. Mr. Lin, I didn't expect another chance to collaborate so soon. It was Tang Xian. I froze for a second. Then I let out a soft laugh. I didn't expect it either. Tang Xian pulled out a chair for me, a gesture that was naturally polite. Brother Chang, you didn't tell you it was me? He only said there was an actress who wanted to talk. I sat down. He's keeping me in the dark. Tang Xian sat opposite me with a smile. Then should I be relieved that Mr. Lin didn't turn around and leave because it was me? Why would I? I took the tea she handed me. About last time, I actually felt quite sorry. She shook her head. head. Her smile was carefree. Mr. Lin, that's long since water under the bridge. I said it back then. I was fully convinced by Ms. Su's talent, and as they say, a blessing in disguise. Who knows if this is for the best? Maybe this role suits me better. And so we began discussing Old Alleys of Changnan, a novel I published 3 years ago that was completely different from Nobody Knows. It tells the story of childhood sweethearts facing the dull ache of growing up and parting. They make different choices, yet always keep each other in their future, never truly drifting apart no matter the hardship. Tang Xian had clearly read the original work carefully. When discussing the heroine's struggles and the hero's journey, she hit every nail on the head. Tang Xian looked at me. Her gaze was earnest. Mr. Lin, I know I might not be the most suitable choice, but I truly love this story. It reminds me of many things in my own life. The pasts I didn't want to face but had to. If I get the chance to play her, I will give it my all. All right, I smiled. Then, I look forward to working with you. Tang Xian's eyes lit up. Really? I'll have Chang Yu coordinate with your team. I stood up. Once I'm back in South City, we'll discuss the details. After we finished, we parted ways at the mouth of the Hudong. I had only walked a few steps when my phone rang. I tapped it and took a look. A message from an unknown number. Jingze, this is Su Manya. Could you give me a chance to talk? I stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then I hit delete. Half a month later, I returned to South City. As soon as I landed, I dove straight into the Old Alleys of Changnan production. Tang Xian had joined the crew even before I did. She had already started the table reads and rehearsals. Every day we met to discuss the script, the characters, and the emotions hidden behind the words. I was incredibly busy. Often, by the time I looked up, it was already dark. When I finally had a moment of peace, I remembered one thing. My cat was still being boarded at the shelter. That afternoon, I happened to have no plans. I got ready and took a cab to the cat shelter. I pushed open the glass door. The manager was organizing things at the counter. Seeing me arrive, she greeted me with a smile. Mr. Lin is here to pick up your cat? Yeah. Thank you for taking care of him. I walked inside. My gaze fell on the cat tree in the corner, and I suddenly froze. Someone was crouching there in a simple gray hoodie and baseball cap, playing with the gray cat. The cat seemed to have grown fond of her, lazily rolling onto its back and letting her scratch its belly. Hearing footsteps, she looked up. Beneath the brim of her cap was Su Manya's face, and the moment she saw me, her eyes lit up. She stood up and walked toward me. Jingze. I took a step back. My voice was cold. MS. Su Manya stopped in her tracks. That title was like an invisible wall shutting her out. Because her company had rearranged her schedule, she was stretched thin. Commercial bookings came one after another. Even knowing I had gone to Beijing, she couldn't go looking for me. She had also been blocked on WeChat. She barely managed to get my number from Chang Yu, but she didn't dare call directly, afraid I would hang up. The text she sent so cautiously received no response. The only way she could think of was to wait for me at the cat shelter, just as I had waited for her 10 years ago. The difference was, she knew I would eventually come.
Su Manya restrained herself.
She whispered, I came to see the cat and wait for you. I didn't respond. I turned to handle the paperwork at the counter. The manager handed me the carrier. All set. The food and treats are all packed. Safe travels. Thank you. I took the carrier. I leaned down to put the cat inside. Then I lifted it and walked out without looking back. Jingze. Su Manya chased after me. I stopped on the side of the street. I turned around. My gaze was as calm as if I were looking at a stranger. Do you need anything else, Miss Su? Su Manya took a deep breath. Could you give me a little time? Let's talk. I was silent for a few seconds. I looked at the cat. Then I said, fine. We found a nearby cafe. I placed the cat carrier on the chair beside me. I spoke first. Miss Su, did you come here because of Nobody Knows? Stopping the film adaptation earlier did cause a lot of trouble for your team. I'm sorry. Su Manya shook her head. I'm not here to talk about that. She reached into her coat, took something out, placed it on the table, and gently pushed it toward me. I looked down. I froze for a moment. It was the confession letter I had discarded. I found this letter in the trash can outside the cat shelter. Su Manya's voice was soft, with a hint of hoarseness. Jingze, I want to clear some things up with you. I looked up at Su Manya. Her eyes were red and bloodshot. Her voice was raspy. Back then, I didn't stand you up on purpose. On June 3rd, the last Friday of our senior year, I went to the broadcasting station and read the script you wrote, but I never saw the part where you asked me to meet at the cat shelter. My fingers tightened slightly. How could she not have known? Even her friends were asking about it back then. Before I could ask, she continued. I couldn't understand why, so I went to find Johan, the station chief at the time. He was the one who organized the script and gave it to me. He confessed that he had seen the message at the end of your script. He saw it, but out of selfishness, he tore it off. Later, he asked to meet me on the sports field, but I didn't go. I spent the whole time in the classroom avoiding the rain. The shelter owner told me you waited there until dark, until it started raining. As she spoke, her eyes grew redder.
Jingze, I'm sorry.
I didn't know you were waiting for me at the shelter. I didn't know this would make us miss each other for 10 years. She pulled up the chat history on her phone and handed it to me. There was a photo among them. I recognized it instantly. It was the piece I had torn off the message I wrote to her. So the 10 years we missed were all because of someone else's selfishness. I thought I would feel regret, sadness, or anger. Strangely, I felt nothing at all. I looked into her eyes and asked calmly, Su Manya, what happened after that?
Su Manya froze.
Then her voice became agitated. I did look for you later. After the last college entrance exam, I went to find you. I heard someone ask about our relationship, and you said we had no relationship. In a fit of anger, I stopped contacting you. The past from 10 years ago flashed before my eyes like fragments of a movie. Because of our connection on Fridays, I once believed we were very close. I said softly, but you didn't show up. You didn't come to see the kitten we saved together. How could I dare to be so delusional and think we were close? Su Manya's pupils contracted, then quickly dimmed. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I lowered my gaze to the coffee that had already gone cold. So the word misunderstanding can explain away 10 lost years. I suddenly felt exhausted. I wanted to get up and leave. Now that the misunderstanding is cleared and the past is behind us, let's leave it at that. Jingze, she said, suddenly grabbing my wrist. Her movement was hurried, but her grip was light, as if she were afraid of hurting me. I've read every chapter of Nobody Knows. I can feel that you still have feelings for me. I thought this was a chance, so I couldn't wait to take on this script, because I couldn't let go of you either. We've already missed 10 years. Let's not miss each other again. Okay? Those words instantly ripped open a scar I thought had long since healed. I looked at her and pulled my hand away. My gaze was so calm it was almost cold. Su Manya, you became an actress. I sent you messages on WeChat, but you never replied. When we discussed the collaboration, you said there was a reason you had to take the role. When it was assumed to be for Gu Yuchen, you didn't explain. At the class reunion, you were the one who said you didn't recognize me. And now you're telling me we shouldn't miss each other again? Don't you find that ridiculous? Su Manya's face gradually paled. She began to speak faster, as if desperately trying to explain. I didn't receive the messages. I had just debuted back then, and my WeChat was managed by my team. I couldn't see many of the messages at all. Taking your play was my own request to the company. The so-called paving the way for Yuchen and hyping a couple for publicity were all arranged by the company. She started to explain why she had claimed not to recognize me.
Su Manya, interrupted her.
It doesn't matter anymore. Su Manya's words choked in her throat. I wrote that novel to say goodbye to the past. That letter ended up in the trash for the same reason. The words were soft, but they hit Su Manya like a sledgehammer. Jingze, she said, looking at me with tears in her eyes. I stood up and picked up the cat carrier. Su Manya, let the past stay in the past. All these years, I've raised this kitten on my own, and it's grown up just fine. I don't want to talk about the past anymore. After saying that, I left the cafe with the cat. And this time, Su Manya didn't follow me. That night, couldn't sleep, tossing and turning in bed. Closing my eyes brought back memories from 10 years ago. The sunlight in the classroom, her voice over the loudspeaker, the twilight I spent waiting and waiting at the cat shelter, and the sudden downpour. Only in my dreams did she show up. She stood at the shelter door in her school uniform, the setting sun bathing her in light. She smiled and asked me, "Have you been waiting long?" Then I woke up. When I woke, my head felt heavy and clouded. I stared at the ceiling for a long time, then got up to freshen up, packed my things, and rushed to the set. Today was the briefing with all the actors regarding the project, Old Alleys of Changnan. The table read lasted all day. Tang Xian was very focused, asking plenty of questions for every scene. Sometimes she asked things even the director couldn't answer. By the time we finished, it was already dark. Tang Xian's team dropped me off downstairs. Just as I was about to get out, I saw someone standing under the streetlight, a gray hoodie, a baseball cap pulled low. It was Su Manya. Seeing the car stop, she looked up. The light swept past the headlights, landing on me, and then on Tang Xian beside me. In that instant, her expression shifted, but she didn't say a word. Tang Xian noticed her too, leaning out of the car.
Hello, MS.
Su Manya looked at her, giving a slight nod. I pushed the door open, turned to Tang Xian and said, "Thank you for the ride. I appreciate it. You're too polite, Mr. Lin.
Thanks in smile.
See you tomorrow." I closed the car door and walked straight toward the entrance. As I passed Su Manya, I didn't stop, not until I reached my front door. Pulling out my keys to open it, did I realize she was still behind me. I turned around, about to ask what on earth she wanted, but she turned toward the opposite door, pulled out her keys, and unlocked it. I froze. "Why are you living here?" As if afraid I'd misunderstand.
Su Manya hurriedly explained.
"I didn't mean anything by it. I just saw that the place opposite yours was vacant, so I rented it." She paused, then added, "Don't worry, I won't be staying here often. I'll be joining the production soon. I just thought, if you ever have to go out, you could leave the kitten with me. It's more convenient than a shelter." As she spoke, she brought out several large bags from her room and handed them to me. The bags were packed with cat food, canned food, treats, and toys. I bought these for the kitten. I looked down at the supplies, not processing it at first. If I had shown up back then, we would have raised this kitten together. I just want to make up for it now. There's quite a lot. Let me help you carry them in. I wanted to say it wasn't necessary, but the words wouldn't come out, so I opened the door. After placing the things in the entryway, she stepped back out. I didn't want to owe her. How much? I'll transfer the money to you. Just send it via WeChat then. After saying that, she smiled and turned back to her apartment. I had to remove her from my block list. She didn't tell me the amount, so I estimated and sent 2,000. She didn't accept it, and I didn't pursue it further. After returning home, I intended to keep working on my new book, but I couldn't write a single word. Then, Chungyu sent a message, saying a TV station wanted to interview me. I was a bit confused. Why would a TV station want a feature interview with me? But Chungyu said it was a great chance for exposure, so I agreed. The next day, I arrived at the station on time, and was led into the waiting room by the staff. I waited for a while. Not long after, the door opened. When I saw his face, I suddenly understood the purpose of this interview.
Så han walked in.
Dressed in a suit, he got straight to the point. Lin Jingze, long time no see. I requested this interview. He paused and explained, but don't worry, the station is doing a column on young writers. I admire your work, so I recommended you to the station. They agreed, which is why this interview is happening. I nodded. Thanks. There was still some time before the interview. Johan sat across from me. After a few seconds of silence, there's one more thing. I've always wanted to apologize to you. He lowered his head, looking at his hands. Back then, Su Manya asked me to swap shifts at the radio station, to move it to Friday. I knew she did it for you, because I liked her back then. I was jealous. When I saw the note you left for her in the script, in a moment of impulse, I tore that part out. He looked up at me, his eyes slightly reddened. Later, I felt guilty, so I asked her to meet me at the playground, wanting to confess my feelings. I knew she didn't like me, but I just wanted to take a gamble. If she had come, even if I were rejected, I would have told her you were waiting for her, but she didn't come. After that, I lost the courage to bring it up again. So, Lin Jingze, I'm sorry. The sound of traffic drifted in from outside, muffled, and in this room, felt exceptionally clear. I looked into his eyes and said calmly, I accept your apology. I didn't say anything more after that. I don't want to talk about the past anymore. Someone knocked on the door, saying the interview was about to start. Johan stood up, straightening his clothes. Professionally, we'll still be in touch. Let's add each other on social media. I nodded, took out my phone, and scanned his QR code. The interview went smoothly. The questions were all about my work and career plans. I answered. When it ended, I packed my things to leave.
So han walked over.
Are you free in a bit? Let me treat you to dinner. I knew Johan was still trying to apologize, but I really wasn't in the mood to accept. Maybe next time. I still have some things to handle with the script. He nodded, not pushing further. All right then, I'll message you on WeChat later. I walked out of the interview room, through the hallway. Just as I reached the station entrance, just as I arrived, the glass doors were pushed open, and a group of people walked toward me. Leading the group were Su Manya and Gu Yuchen. Su Manya was dressed in haute couture, exuding a cold, noble aura. Gu Yuchen followed behind her, with a bright smile, but for some reason, there seemed to be a distance between them. When Su Manya saw me, her gaze lingered for a brief moment. I ignored her, and kept walking. Jingze, she called out to me. I stopped, and turned around. She walked toward me, coming to a stop in front of me. I've already booked a table at that Yunnan restaurant in the east of the city. Are you free? Go there? That was the place. And Nobody Knows that I mentioned. My favorite restaurant. Seats are limited every day, and usually require a reservation. Even so, I didn't want to go with her. No thanks.
I'm busse.
I'm leaving. The moment I finished speaking, without waiting for her response, I turned and left the station. Unexpectedly, it was Gu Yuchen who chased after me. Mr. Lin. I stopped again, turning to look at him. Gu Yuchen ran up to me, coming to a halt in front of me, his breathing slightly labored, his eyes fixed on me, with a serious expression. Mr. Lin, actually I've already realized, Sister Manya likes you. To collaborate with you, she turned down the scripts the company chose for her, insisting on appearing in your work. Even when the company insisted she bring me along, she was so dedicated to this collaboration. Mostly because of you. He paused, then continued, she and I are just in a business relationship arranged by the company. I know, that in Sister Menya's heart, I can't compare to you. Please don't misunderstand her. There's really nothing between us. At this moment, listening to Gu Yuchen's explanation, my heart didn't skip a beat. These words, if I had heard them when I still cared, might have had some effect. But now, I simply shook my head. This has nothing to do with you. After saying that, I left. From then on, we all became busy with our own lives. I heard from Changyu that Su Manya had joined a production, filming a mystery movie this time. Gu Yuchen also took on a new historical idol drama. The hype around their couple status seemed to stagnate, becoming lukewarm. Whether it was Su Manya's wish or the company's arrangement, she gradually decoupled from Gu Yuchen. Recent announcements were all about her individual schedule. I caught a glimpse of the interview aired that day. The interaction between them had decreased significantly, with none of that previous ambiguous intimacy. Meanwhile, while writing my new book, I was also busy with old stories of Changnan, filming. I discussed filming details with the director, and most of the time, I stayed on set. Tang Xian's performance was surprising. Her chemistry with the male lead was quite good. Although her acting was still raw, she was very intuitive. With just a little guidance from the director, she could quickly understand and adjust. She also frequently discussed the plot with me, diligent and serious. One day on set, while Tang Xian and I, and the director were discussing the next scene, someone suddenly brought over a lot of milk tea. I looked up, and it was Su Manya. Coincidentally, some of her scenes were being filmed nearby during this time, so she treated the entire crew to milk tea. Upon her arrival, the crew members thanked her one after another. She nodded, her gaze sweeping across the crowd. Finally landing on me, Su Manya walked up to me, handing me a cup of milk tea. I glanced at it. It was my favorite flavor. I took the tea and said thank you. Tang Xian also took a cup, saying with a smile, "Thank you, Ms. Su. I've always admired you, and I hope to have the chance to work with you in the future." Su Manya looked at her, her gaze indifferent. "You're already very lucky," she said. "It's an honor to work with Mr. Lin." My grip on the milk tea tightened slightly, not understanding the hidden meaning in her words. Tang Xian beamed with a wider smile. "Exactly. I'm truly honored to be working with Mr. Lin." Su Manya didn't reply. She just gazed at me, her voice softening. "I've always wanted to work with Mr. Lin. I just didn't know if I'd ever get the chance." People around us kept glancing our way. For the sake of appearances, couldn't just shut her down. "Maybe some other time," I said. She nodded, saying nothing more, and turned back to her own set, holding her milk tea. Tang Xian watched her walk away, looking thoughtful. Then, she suddenly leaned into my ear, whispering softly, "Mr. Lin, Miss Su is acting a bit strange. I think she likes you." I froze, quickly denying it. "Don't talk nonsense."
Tang xin chúc cơ.
Dropping the subject, and shifted the conversation to the script. During the time Su Manya was around, life on set became much more pleasant. Every day there were all sorts of snacks and treats, paired with milk tea. After a month, I felt like I'd gained a few pounds. She would specifically order my favorite treats. The crew seemed to notice something, but they kept quiet, though their eyes were full of curiosity. But I remained indifferent. In fact, when she finally moved to another location, I felt a sense of relief. Old Alley, South City. On the day of the wrap, right after the final group photo, I got a call from Changyu. He shouted over the phone, "Jingze, you're in a dating scandal." I was stunned. I pulled out my phone and opened WB, only to find Tang Xian and I were trending. Rising star and screenwriter's age gap romance. Sharing a milk tea. Looking at the photo, I remembered. It was the day Su Manya first brought milk tea to the set. I was holding the cup she had handed me, but the paparazzi were experts at forced perspective. Tang Xian had been whispering in my ear, but in the photo it looked like she was drinking my tea. I found it absurd, marveling at the paparazzi's ability to fabricate stories. Yet I wasn't too worried. Tang Xian ran over to me, looking at me apologetically. "Mr. Lin, we're trending. I'm sorry, I caused you so much trouble." I gave a small smile. "It's fine. Don't worry about it." After that, I left the set immediately. By the time I got home, it was already dark. The elevator doors opened, and as I stepped out, I saw someone standing by my door. Su Manya was leaning against the wall, looking completely exhausted, her eyes frighteningly red. She smelled of alcohol. When she saw me, she straightened up and strode toward me. She stopped right in front of me, standing very close, her voice raspy. "Lin Jingze, if Tang Xian is okay, then why can't I be?" I found her completely baffling. Su Manya had been in the entertainment industry for years. How could she not recognize the tricks of marketing accounts? Yet here she was, questioning why I chose Tang Xian. Besides, who I choose has nothing to do with her. Her words almost made me laugh in frustration. "What makes you think you're an option?" Su Manya was definitely drunk. She stood there, acting like a child, trying to compete with Tang Xian. "My acting is better than hers. I'm more beautiful than her. I've known you longer. I'm wealthier than her." I cut her off, the anger inside making me reckless. "But she's younger than you."
Su Manya froze instantly.
She pressed her lips together, her jawline tightening. The light in her eyes faded away bit by bit, replaced by visible hurt and agony. Suddenly, I felt it was all pointless.
Su Manya,
"Just move on. Stop wasting your time. It's been 10 years. No one waits in the same spot forever." Seeing her like this, my heart didn't feel right, but my desire to stop this entanglement was also real. I ignored her, opened the door and went inside. The moment I closed the door, I leaned against it, standing there with my eyes closed. There was no sound from outside. After a while, I heard the door across the hall open, and then close again. The next day, the topic was still trending. I was discussing with Chang Yu whether to issue a clarification, when I received a message from Tang Xian. She said Su Manya was willing to help her clear things up, since Su Manya was the one who bought the tea. It wasn't actually necessary, but Su Manya spoke out anyway. She somehow managed to get a photo photo of the three of us chatting that day and forwarded Tang Xian's clarification on WB. Pictures don't lie. With Su Manya as a witness, the matter was finally put to rest. After that, we seemed to return to our own lives. She focused on her filming, and I focused on my novels, except that I occasionally received packages from her, all of which were for my cat, as if she were trying to make up for everything she missed over the last 10 years. Piece by piece, every cent I tried to transfer back to her, she refused to accept. One day, while I was sitting at my desk by the window, working on my new book, Chang Yu called me, complaining that Su Manya was driving him crazy. Lately, she keeps asking him, what does he like these days? What does he hate? She even sends over photos of things she's picked out, asking if I would like them. She keeps asking this and that. She's driving me absolutely crazy. Now that she realizes she likes you, she started chasing you. Where was she all this time? Seriously. He paused. His tone softened. But you two really are a pity. Clearly, you both like each other, yet you've missed each other for so long. Jingze, are you really not going to consider it? At that moment, a breeze blew in through the window, carrying the chill of early autumn. I held the phone, silent for a while, then gave a small smile, tinged with a hint of bitterness. Even if her feelings for me are real, the fact that we missed our chance is also a reality. If, when we first reunited, she hadn't pretended not to recognize me, and hadn't been so ambiguous with Gu Yuchen in front of me, I might have still held on to some hope, but she allowed all that to happen. I won't let a misunderstanding from years ago make me swallow the pain of her choosing to ignore me. Qingyu sighed. All right then, as long as you know what you're doing. After hanging up, I stared blankly for a moment, then shook my head, and went back to focusing on my new book. The next day, I got a call from a colleague. Jingze, are you free right now? I have a script that I can't handle alone. It's not exactly my style either. Could you give me a hand? My progress on the new book was going well, so I agreed. I'm free. Send it over. I'll take a look. He sent the script over quickly, along with the payment. Thanks a million. There's a table read at 3 p.m. today. Make sure to be there. I've already informed the crew. He then sent the location. When I arrived and met with the crew, I discovered that the female lead was Su Manya. She was wearing a casual tracksuit, looking young and radiant. Seeing me arrive, Su Manya walked over with a smile and reached out her hand. Mr. Lin, I didn't expect our collaboration to happen so soon.
I'm honored.
After that chance encounter at the door, I hadn't seen Su Manya again, until today, at the table read. I froze for a moment, then reached out to shake her hand. The honor is mine. Looking forward to working with you. I let go of her hand quickly, but the warmth of her palm lingered. I had worked with many people in this crew before, so I quickly blended in. Su Manya sat across the long table, holding the script, whispering something to the director. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling across her profile, highlighting her sharp features. This was Su Manya in professional mode, different from every time I'd seen her before. No forced closeness,
No probing glances.
only focus and professionalism. I composed myself and sat down as a professional collaborator. The script tells the story of an undercover cop enduring hardship for 10 years, infiltrating a criminal syndicate to finally complete the mission. The protagonist's resilience, endurance, and the emotional shift during identity transitions, all of these demanded a high level of acting. During the reading, Su Manya didn't say much, but every word was spot on. Watching from the side, I had to admit, when it comes to acting, she is a true professional. The polishing of the script went smoother than expected. Su Manya offered many useful suggestions regarding the character's psychological logic, the pacing of the lines, and even where the protagonist should stand in a particular scene. It wasn't about bossing people around, but truly delving into the character. Sometimes she would argue with the director, getting heated in the process, but they always found a solution everyone liked. Thanks to her passion and dedication, the script progressed much faster than expected. To make the filming more authentic, the crew decided to shoot on location in Yunnan. The landscape and atmosphere there perfectly matched the scenes in the script, but because the conditions were relatively harsh, the crew didn't actually require me to go. I hesitated for a few days. Going meant being away for several months. My cat would have to be boarded, and my new book would be put on hold. I didn't want to go, but I still felt uneasy. Some details of the script needed on-site adjustments. If something went wrong during filming, remote communication would be too tedious. In the end, my sense of responsibility won, and I decided to go with the crew. One day, after calling Qingyu to arrange a few things, I put my cat in the carrier, preparing to take it to the cattery. Just as I stepped out, I ran into Su Manya. It looked like she had been waiting for a while. Seeing the cat carrier in my hand, she naturally took it from me. I'll take you to the cattery. I didn't refuse. We were silent the whole way. When we arrived at the cattery, the manager took the carrier and said with a smile, "We meet again. Don't worry, leave it to me." After settling the cat, we both went home to pack. Early the next morning, the crew gathered and set off for Yunnan. The filming conditions in Yunnan were even harsher than expected. The crew was stationed in a small town. Every day we had to leave before dawn, carrying equipment over long distances. The signal in the mountains was poor, and the insects were everywhere. Even our food and lodging were makeshift. The crew took great care of me, thinking that, as a screenwriter, I shouldn't have to endure such hardship. Often, they wouldn't let me go to the set, telling me to stay at the base to revise the script. "Mr. Lin, just stay here. If there are any issues, we'll talk over the phone." I knew they meant well, so I didn't insist. One evening, while I was pondering the script, I found a scene that didn't feel right. The one where the undercover identity is about to be exposed. The protagonist is forced into interrogation at the final moment. The opponent is the kingpin she's been hunting for years. She must, without blowing her cover, escape from the opponent's trap. The dialogue in the script was too blunt. Every line the protagonist spoke was explaining, which actually made it feel forced. I revised it several times, but it still felt like something was missing. I figured I had to talk to Su Manya. After all, this scene is her centerpiece. I got up to find her. The crew's base wasn't large. I quickly found her room. The door was half open. Someone was talking inside. I knocked on the door and pushed it open. Su Manya was lying by the bed, looking as if she were asleep. Her sleeve was rolled up to her elbow, a bandage wrapped around her arm, with blood faintly seeping through. Her assistant was crouching beside her, searching for something. "What happened?" I asked. The assistant looked up, with a troubled expression. "Mr. Lin, that gunfight scene just now didn't pass after several takes. When it ended, the weather was terrible. Everyone was rushing to wrap up. Miss Su probably wasn't paying attention, and took a fall. Her arm got cut." She paused, and added, "It seems she has a bit of a fever." I looked at Su Manya. Her eyes were tightly shut, and her complexion was indeed poor. The assistant asked me, "Mr. Lin, are you here to see Miss Su for something?" I shook my head. "There's nothing urgent. Let her rest first. We'll talk tomorrow." After I spoke, I prepared to leave, but the assistant suddenly called out to me, "Mr. Lin, could you please keep an eye on Miss Su for me? I have to go to town to buy medicine. It's inconvenient here, and the pharmacy is quite far." I wanted to refuse, but seeing it was already late, the other staff had returned exhausted from a day's work. They were likely already resting. To disturb them now would be unnecessary, so I nodded. Seeing my agreement, the assistant took her phone and hurried away. The room fell silent. I sat on the chair by the bed, placing the script on my lap, looking at Su Manya before me. It was hard to imagine that the dazzling movie star could have a moment of such vulnerability. She didn't seem to be sleeping comfortably. Her lips were a bit dry. I poured her a glass of water and brought it over, wanting to help her drink some. As I got closer, I could feel beneath her cotton t-shirt her scorching heat and the tension in her muscles. Su Manya was indeed thirsty. She drank quite a bit of the water I poured. As I helped her lie back down, I unexpectedly locked eyes with her. Her breath brushed against my earlobe. The searing heat made me feel uneasy. For no reason, I actually felt a flicker of panic. I pulled back slightly.
Su Manya,
"You're awake." But Su Manya suddenly pulled me toward her, looking at me, her eyes a blur of delirium and clarity. "Am I dreaming?" She raised her hand and gently stroked my head. The other hand gripping my wrist didn't loosen its hold one bit. "Seems it really is a dream. If it weren't a dream, you wouldn't be this close to me." Her hand moved slowly from my head to my cheek, her movements cautious, as if afraid to shatter this illusion. Her eyes shimmered with tears. She looked fragile and pitiful, completely devoid of her usual cold, aloof elegance. As if confirming it was a dream, she suddenly pulled me into her embrace, holding me tight. My breathing suddenly quickened. Her scorching heat left me bewildered. "Su Manya," I started, but she only held me tighter, as if afraid the dream would end, desperate to hold onto something. "Only in a dream can I hold you like this." Her breathing was heavy, slightly hurried, yet her voice was very soft. "All these years, have you been doing well? Have you ever thought of me?" My body stiffened. "I'm sorry, I was too cowardly. I think of you every single day. But because of that misunderstanding, because of ridiculous pride, because of saving face, I never dared to come find you." The grip of the hug gradually loosened, but she still didn't let me go, and gently rested her forehead against mine. "That day you asked me what made me think I could. I thought about it all night and couldn't find an answer, because it seems I really had no right. But Jingze, I really do love you. Since 10 years ago, I've loved you. Throughout these 10 years, I've continued to love you. I've loved you for so long." My breath stopped. This belated confession suddenly made the whole world fall silent, leaving only two hearts beating wildly, mingled with our searing breaths, playing a symphony in the night, deafeningly loud. If I had shown up for that date back then, if I hadn't left, if I had seen the WeChat message you sent that day, if we hadn't missed each other, would we be raising kittens together now? She looked up at me, her eyes red, whether from the fever or something else, but I was stunned by the emotion in her eyes. I could only watch as she with eyes brimming with longing, drew closer and closer to me. The moment our lips were about to touch, she turned her head and leaned on my shoulder. Her scorching breath brushed against the hollow of my shoulder. Jingze, I don't want to miss out again. I refuse to let it go. I like you. I don't care how long you make me wait, as long as it's you in the end. Her voice grew softer and softer. Her heart was racing. I could feel it even through her clothes. The warmth radiated from her body, a heat that left me feeling dazed. I let her lean against my shoulder, listening to her heartbeat. My mind was in turmoil. I don't know how much time passed. Footsteps sounded at the door. The assistant pushed the door open, carrying a bag of medicine. Seeing us, she froze for a moment, then tactfully lowered her head. I've bought the medicine. I suddenly snapped back to reality, pushing Su Manya off my shoulder. I hurriedly stood up and fixed my hair. Okay, I'll be going now. We'll talk about everything else tomorrow. With that, I walked out quickly, not daring to look back, and so I didn't see Su Manya, supposedly feverish, leaning against the bed, gazing toward the door. Her eyes were piercingly clear, a slight curve playing on her lips, without a hint of feverish haze. I returned to my room, closed the door, leaned against the door panel. My heart was pounding. The flush on my cheeks wouldn't subside. Su Manya's words kept swirling in my mind, igniting a spark of longing in my dormant heart. I slapped my own face hard, muttering to myself, Lin Jingze, the delirious ramblings of someone with a fever. What do they even matter? If Su Manya really liked me that much, why wouldn't she have looked for me once in 10 years? I personally extinguished that flickering flame of longing and forced myself to sleep. The next day, after hesitating for a long time, I still went to the set. Su Manya was already filming. She had changed her clothes, and the gauze on her arm had been replaced. She looked no different than usual. Once the scene was finished, she walked over holding the script. Her expression was normal. Teacher Lin, the assistant said, you were looking for me yesterday, and even took care of me for a while. Thank you. Sorry for the trouble. I didn't look at her. Instead, I looked down at her arm. No need for thanks. Are you feeling better? I mean, the injury. She looked down at it. It's nothing. Did you look for me last night because of the script? She handed the script to me. I took it, only to realize it was the one I left in her room yesterday. I had left in such a rush and panic that I completely forgot the business at hand. I nodded, opened the script, and pointed out that scene to her. Here, the lead's lines are too blunt. She's being interrogated. Every sentence is an explanation, which actually makes it feel forced. It should be more subtle. Let the other person guess. Su Manya took the script, read it for a few seconds, and nodded. You're right, she can't say too much here. The more she explains, the more suspicious she looks. She thought for a moment, changed some words in the script with her pen, and handed it to me. How about this? I took a glance, and nodded. This works. Neither of us mentioned the other part, but I felt a sense of suffocation. In the days that followed, we acted like two ordinary partners, discussing the script, exchanging ideas, occasionally meeting on set, giving a nod or a greeting. The events of that night felt as if they had been burned away by a high fever. Neither of us ever brought it up again, but I always felt the way she looked at me was different from before, no longer hiding it, but completely open, as if saying, I simply like you. I could only pretend not to notice. The shoot in Yunnan lasted over 2 months, taking a bit longer than planned, but the results were excellent. The director was very satisfied, and the actors were deeply invested. After finishing in Yunnan, we rushed back to Nanjing without pause, to film the final parts. On the day of wrap, the entire crew was cheering. Staff began packing up the equipment. Actors said their goodbyes. Someone suggested a celebratory dinner. That's when Su Manya spoke up. No better time than now. I'll treat everyone to dinner tonight. During this time, everyone has worked so hard. Thank you all for your dedication. Everyone chimed in, filled with excitement. After she finished speaking, she walked up to me. Teacher Lin, you worked hard too. You even followed the crew specifically for the script. Please join us as well. Just as I was about to agree, my phone rang. I looked down. It was a message from Tang Xian. Teacher Lin, the old alleys of Changnan. I've seen the first cut. The effect is wonderful. I'm truly grateful to you. I'd like to treat you to a meal. Are you free tonight? Then another message followed. I've booked that restaurant you mentioned in your novel, Changnan Private Kitchen. If you're not free, I can change the time. I was stunned for a moment. That restaurant, I did write about it in my novel. It was a place the male lead often visited as a child. It was demolished later, then reopened elsewhere. I didn't expect her to notice that. I felt a bit touched, so I replied to her, I'm free. I'm coming over now. Got it. I'll wait for you. Once you've sent it. I looked up and told Su Manya, I won't be joining the dinner. I have other things to attend to. Sorry. With that, I left the set. Su Manya's fists clenched tightly by her side. Her expression darkened. She had caught a glimpse. It was a message from Tang Xian. She also saw the location Tang Xian sent. She quickly searched on her phone, then sent the location to her assistant, changing the dinner venue to somewhere near that restaurant. 6 p.m. I arrived at the Changnan private kitchen on time. Tang Xian was already waiting at the door. She wore a light-colored shirt, looking fresh and spirited. Her eyes curved slightly when she saw me. Mr. Lin, this way. She led me inside, through a narrow corridor, into a small private room. The room wasn't large, but it was elegant. Outside the window was a small bamboo grove. The lights were a warm yellow. This place is hard to book. I had to reserve it 2 weeks in advance. Thank you for the effort. It was nothing. She sat down, her tone slightly bashful. I just thought this place was interesting. In your novel, you wrote that the male lead often came here as a child. Later, it was demolished. He searched for a long time but couldn't find it. I thought it would be great if I could find the original place. And when I searched, it actually existed. I was a bit surprised. You searched for it? Yes. I searched right after finishing the novel. She spoke quite candidly. I just wanted to know the taste of that dish the male lead loved so much. The dishes were served one by one. Halfway through the meal, she put down her chopsticks and looked at me seriously. Mr. Lin, actually inviting you to dinner today isn't just to say thank you. I looked up. As she spoke, she unconsciously rubbed the rim of her glass. Old Alleys of Changnan, this script is very important to me. The roles I've played before were quite shallow. There wasn't much room for growth. But this one is different. I can feel it. Every character you've written has deep roots. She looked at me, her eyes full of sincerity. So I want to thank you, and I hope we can continue to work together. I smiled. There will be an opportunity. After dinner, we left the restaurant. The night breeze carried the chill of early autumn, feeling quite refreshing. I checked my phone and found several missed calls from the cattery owner and Su Manya. I didn't realize my phone had been set to silent. I hadn't looked at it during dinner. A sudden, inexplicable panic surged in my heart. Just then, the cattery manager called again. I answered hastily. His troubled voice came through the receiver. Mr. Lin, I finally reached you. The kitten isn't feeling well. It's already been taken to the pet hospital. My heart tightened instantly. Where? How is the kitten? I'm coming right now. All right, I'll send you the address. Don't worry. The kitten is doing okay now. And Miss Su has already arrived. The moment I heard Su Manya had already gone, my tense nerves relaxed slightly, yet they remained on edge. After hanging up, Tang Xian noticed my pale face. She asked with concern, "What's wrong, Mr. Lin?" "Tang Xin, could you please take me to the pet hospital?" Without a word, she nodded. "Okay, send me the location, and I'll take you there." I nodded, but the hand holding the phone couldn't stop shaking. On the way, my palms were sweating. Neon lights flashed past the window, flickering on and off, mirroring my unsettled heart. Even though I knew Su Manya was there, I still couldn't put my mind at ease. When we arrived at the hospital, I didn't even have time to say a word of goodbye to Tang Xian. As I pushed the door open and rushed in, I immediately saw Su Manya and the manager. "Where's the kitten? How is it?" At that moment, the kitten, soft and fluffy, lay pitifully in the observation box, its tiny body curled into a ball. My eyes instantly welled up. Su Manya walked over, her voice soft and steady. "It's nothing serious. Don't worry. The kitten is just getting older and had a small digestive issue. It'll be fine with some care." The manager quickly comforted me too. "It's okay now, Mr. Lin." Thanks to Miss Su arriving in time, the kitten was brought here quickly. I took a deep breath, calming my emotions. I thanked the manager. It was getting late, so I told him he could head back first. The doctor said the kitten could go home once stable, so I picked up the kitten. On the way back, the kitten occasionally let out a faint meow in my arms. Every sound felt like a needle pricking my heart. Guilt surged over me like a tide. If Su Manya hadn't arrived in time today, or if I hadn't answered the phone, I didn't dare imagine what might have happened. When we reached the front door, holding the cat carrier, my eyes still red, I looked up at Su Manya.
Su Manya,
"Thank you for today. Thank you for saving this kitten once again." But the words got stuck in my throat, unable to be spoken. She looked at me, her gaze as gentle as a midnight streetlight. "You're welcome, Jingze. Don't blame yourself, as long as the kitten is okay. And besides, this is what I should have done anyway." I nodded. As I turned to enter the door, she said something behind me. "From now on, whatever happens, I can bear it with you." I didn't look back, nor did I respond. I just carried the cat inside. The moment I closed the door, I looked at the kitten in my arms and heard the sound of my own heartbeat. That spark I had once extinguished with my own hands, somehow, had quietly ignited once again. The next morning, I was woken up by Chang Yu's call. "Jingze, you're trending again." I gave a groggy response, but I checked on the kitten first. Seeing it was in good spirits, lazily licking its paws, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I picked up my phone and opened WB. My name was hanging on the trending list. Blindingly obvious. Screenwriter Lin Jingze and Tang Xian have dinner together. The photo was taken as we left the private restaurant last night. The angle was chosen maliciously. Tang Xian and I were walking side by side. The lights were dim, and it did look somewhat ambiguous. Scrolling down, there were 2 more, which surprised me. They were about me and Su Manya. Lin Jingze and Su Manya enter hospital together. Relationship suspected to be unusual. The photo was the moment we left the pet hospital last night. The angle made it look like Su Manya's arm happened to block half of my body. It looked as if she were hugging me. Lin Jingze and Su Manya in the same crew in Yunnan. Close relationship. The photos were from the filming period in Yunnan. A few were of Su Manya and me discussing the script on set. One was of her helping me carry things, and another of me leaving her room. The comments section had already exploded. This guy is playing two actresses at the same time, spending the night with 2 stars. He's a literal master of time management. Where are Tang Xian's fans? Aren't they going to do something? How could Su Manya fall for someone like this? Nobody knows. That novel was written about Su Manya, right? He's just trying to ride the hype. Disgusting. Fake. No wonder she gets so many resources. So that's how she does it. There were even nastier ones, like poison needles, stabbing me relentlessly. As I scrolled down, my fingers felt cold. Chang Yu was frantic on the other end of the line. Stop reading. I've already had people handle it. Those marketing accounts are just chasing shadows, taking things out of context. I know, I said, my voice calmer than I imagined. After hanging up, I scrolled through the comments again. One comment had been upvoted to the top, like a knife, stabbing precisely into the most vital spot. It read, "Nobody knows." I felt something was off when I read it. Nanjing High School, broadcasting station, unrequited love. Isn't this exactly Su Manya, writing a novel about the person she likes? And now she's still clinging to him. Isn't that disgusting? It already had over 10,000 likes. I stared at those words for a long time, so long that the screen's light stung my eyes. Not only that, my WB was being swarmed by fans. Those cursing me included Su Manya's fans,
Tang Xin's fans,
and Sugu shippers. The attack was too fierce. Anyone who spoke up for me was quickly drowned out by them. They were cursing wildly under my WB, each word nastier than the last. While I was scrolling,
Tang Xin Caleb.
"Mr. Lin, did you see the trending news?" I did. I've already had my team draft a statement. Please don't worry. This started because of me. I will handle it. It's okay. Thank you. After hanging up, I took a deep breath, but before I could recover, my phone rang again. This time it was a WeChat message from Su Manya. Just a few short words. "Jingze. The hype just won't die down. The entire topic square is full of people cursing me. I've truly witnessed the fighting power of fans firsthand. Even Chang Yu couldn't help but post a statement on his WB defending me. Immediately after, Tang Xian posted on WB,
Tang Xin.
regarding last night's dinner. Let me explain. Mr. Lin and I are strictly professional. We had a meal to thank him for his old alleys of Changnan, guidance and help during the filming. Those out-of-context photos and comments have caused great harm to Mr. Lin. Please remain rational and stop spreading false information." Not long after, the director spoke up as well. Director Wang Zheng, Old Alleys of Changnan. During the filming, Mr. Lin Jingze has always been extremely professional. Tang Xian and Mr. Lin have a normal working relationship. Please do not overinterpret. Great works need your support, not these groundless speculations. But the wave of hype truly peaked, with the WB post Su Manya personally shared.
Su Manya.
Regarding the recent rumors, I have a few words to say. The information online is entirely false, and the photos are deliberately misleading angles. Please remain rational and stop the abuse and harm toward Mr. Lin. Secondly, regarding the matter of entering the hospital with Mr. Lin last night, the location was a pet hospital. A kitten we rescued together years ago was unwell due to its old age, which is why we took it for treatment. Thirdly, Nobody Knows is an exceptional piece of work. Lin Jingze is a very talented writer. I've wanted to collaborate with him for a long time. It is my honor. Fourthly, during the filming in Yunnan, Mr. Lin and I only had professional interactions. Those photos are normal professional exchanges. There is no such thing as an intimate relationship. Regarding Nobody Knows, the question of the female lead's prototype. I'm not in a position to answer for the author, but I can say one thing. If that book really wrote about me, that's exactly what I've been longing for. Su Manya's final words completely exploded the comments section. Longing for it. What does that mean? Su Manya, are you confessing? But what truly shifted the public opinion was someone else.
Su Han.
He posted a long essay on his WB, like a stone thrown into boiling water, creating entirely different ripples.
Su Han V.
I was the head of the Nanjing High School radio station back then. Regarding the hot topic online, there are a few things I want to say. Nobody knows whether it has a prototype. I'm not sure, but the author is indeed my schoolmate and was a frequent contributor to our radio station scripts.
Su Manya
was also indeed our radio station's announcer. 10 years ago, someone once asked me to swap shifts to Friday, just to read a script written by one person. At that time, our school's Fridays had a special column dedicated to one person, called Everlasting, but on the last Friday of senior year, the message in the final script asking her to meet. Out of selfishness, I tore it up. Later, I asked her to meet, wanting to tell her about this, and also wanting to confess my feelings, but she didn't come. Therefore, because of my selfishness, 2 people who could have loved each other missed 10 years. Today, Seeing the online discussions and the malice directed at the author, my heart is filled with guilt, and I want to apologize for what happened back then. Say I'm sorry to them. I know I did the wrong thing, so I accept everyone's criticism. But please stop the malicious speculation about the author. After this WB post was published, the public opinion completely flipped. So that's how it was. This is too heartbreaking. Because of someone else's selfishness, they lost 10 whole years. So the female lead of the novel really is Su Manya, but it was a mutual secret crush. Lin Jingze is so miserable. Writing the novel was to find closure, only to be cyberbullied. I just want to cry right now. In the comments section, the voices cursing me were gradually drowned out and replaced by an overwhelming wave of regret and heartache. My fans finally felt vindicated and started speaking up for me, fighting the injustice. Only I, as the person involved, said nothing at all. To my friends' greetings and concerns, I simply responded with thanks. Then I set my phone aside. I closed WB, shutting out all the noise. I chose to go into seclusion, immersing myself in the creation of my new book, leaving everything else to Changyu. During this time, I often ran into Su Manya. She would knock on my door from time to time, bringing some things, some canned food and toys for the kitten, and soup she brewed for me, and snacks she made. She took a break for herself and moved right across from me. One day at noon, she handed me a bowl of noodles she made. Try some. I think you'll like the taste. After thanking her, I didn't eat it right away, but placed it on the table and went back to my computer to write my new book. After writing for a while, I realized she hadn't left. She was squatting on the floor playing with the kitten. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling on the side of her face, as gentle as a painting. Seeing that I finally stopped to rest, she said, "How about I take care of the kitten for a while? I'm on vacation anyway. I have the time. You can focus on your book." I wanted to refuse, but seeing the kitten purring with its eyes closed in her palm, and remembering when the kitten was sick last time, I eventually nodded. She was overjoyed, carefully picking up the kitten, lifting it to nuzzle against her cheek. So, during my breaks after writing every day, I would go over to her place to check on the kitten. Time flowed quietly like this, like a slow-moving river. The creation of my new book was nearing its end. One day, Chang Yu called me back to the office regarding the publication. After we finished discussing, I was scrolling through my phone. I suddenly blurted out, "Huh? Isn't this your kitten?" He handed the phone to me. I was stunned. On the screen was a live interview with Su Manya, facing the camera, confident and radiant, and in her hands she was petting the very kitten we had saved together. It lay obediently in the crook of Su Manya's arm, occasionally looking up to nuzzle her fingers, not at all like its usual shy self. Only then did I check my phone, and found that she had informed me in advance. Since she didn't want to leave the kitten alone at home, she had brought the kitten to the set. It's just that I hadn't checked WeChat since coming to the office. My heart suddenly felt complicated. In the video, the host asked Su Manya, "We all know that Miss Su is a very professional actress, but as we understand, you didn't major in acting, but in broadcasting and hosting."
Su Manya nodded.
"Yes. Then may I ask why you chose to become an actress?" Su Manya pondered for a moment and said, "For one, because I love it. By becoming an actress, I can experience 100 different lives and feel the different depths of existence brought by various identities." She paused, her gaze piercing through the camera, as if trying to look into someone's heart. "There is another reason. I wanted to be seen by a certain someone." My breath hitched. My heart began to race uncontrollably. The host followed up, "Then this person must be very important to you, right?"
Su Manya smiled.
She smiled with such sincerity. Her eyes were filled with the purity of youth. "Yes, it's very important. He is the person I've loved for a very, very long time. He is a brilliant novelist. From the moment I became an actress, I have always looked forward to the day I could play a character he wrote. I wanted him to see me so badly." The host fell silent for a moment, then asked tentatively, "Does he see you now?" Su Manya gave a gentle smile to the camera. In that smile, there were 10 years of waiting, a cautious approach, and the courage to dive in without hesitation. "The revolution isn't over yet. I'm still working on it." Holding my phone, I suddenly felt my eyes grow hot. Chang Yu shrieked in shock at Su Manya's answer, almost dropping his phone. "My God, Jingze, she's confessing her love in public." He clutched his chest, his face full of disbelief. "Unbelievable. If you two actually happen, it would be a legendary love story." Meanwhile, I kept staring at the live stream, without saying a word. After saying those words on screen, Su Manya looked down and petted the cat in her arms, the tips of her ears turning slightly red. The woman who was always so poised before the camera now looked like a girl who had just confessed her love, with a touch of clumsy shyness. The host was clearly stunned by the answer as well, taking a few seconds to recover before smiling and continuing, asking about the origin of the kitten beside her. Su Manya didn't hide it, her fingers gently stroking the cat's fur. "This is a kitten he and I saved together 10 years ago." She said it casually, but the words 10 years still hung heavily in the air. The host gave a meaningful smile and offered her blessings. Then we'll look forward to good news from Ms. Su. After the interview ended, as expected, clips of Su Manya's livestream sparked a heated debate across the web. 7 or 8 related tags were trending on the hot search list. Clicking on any of them revealed an overwhelming flood of discussions. Netizens lamented the love that had been missed for 10 years. Some sighed, to think that even a top star can harbor a secret crush for 10 years. Others said, what kind of idol drama plot is this? Some even set screenshots of the livestream as their wallpaper. The fans were completely losing it. So Su Manya became an actress because of Lin Jingze? She waited for 10 years. My god, this is such a divine love story. I'm crying so hard. Please, just get together already. I'm begging you, otherwise I won't be able to sleep. They flooded the comments under Su Manya's WB post, encouraging her and wishing her well, like a group of overly concerned relatives. My WB was also flooded with countless messages in an instant. Some apologized, some expressed regret, but most were overwhelmingly sending their blessings. As I was scrolling, a new tag suddenly surged to the top of the hot searches. Su Manya replies to fans. I clicked on it and saw a screenshot. A fan had left a comment in Su Manya's section, telling her to keep it up and to try and win over that author she mentioned soon. They hoped her wish would come true. And Su Manya replied directly, I will work hard at it. Thank you for your encouragement. A simple sentence instantly made the already frantic fans even more excited. The comments section completely collapsed. This also caused the unknown author's popularity to surge once again. The reprint notices from the publisher were almost blowing up Chang Yu's phone. Chang Yu looked at me, hesitating to speak several times, before finally unable to resist asking, Jingze, are you really not going to give her a chance? My heart was racing, unable to calm down. I exited WB and turned off the screen. My blurred face was reflected on the screen. I don't know. The moment I said it, couldn't even tell if I truly didn't know, or if I was just afraid to admit it. Chang Yu walked over and gave me a gentle hug. Follow your heart, Jingze. I just want you to be happy. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was a call from Su Manya. Chang Yu let go of me. I took a deep breath and answered the phone. Jingze, are you done with work? Su Manya's voice carried a cautious hesitation, like someone walking on thin ice. Every step so careful it was heartbreaking. I asked, what's up? Nothing much. I just wanted to ask if you have some time to go back to Nanxing High School with me. I froze for a moment. What for? She was silent for a long while, so long that I thought the signal had cut out before she finally spoke. Jingze, there are some things I want to tell you in person. This time, I didn't hesitate. Okay, I'm at the office. There was a second of silence on the other end. Then came Su Manya's voice, suppressing her joy. Okay, I'll come pick you up. After hanging up, I noticed Chang Yu was smiling at me. We looked at each other and smiled. Nothing was said, yet it felt as if everything had been said. Soon, her car pulled up downstairs at the office. As I walked out of the office doors, I immediately saw Su Manya standing by the car waiting for me. She was wearing a simple white dress. In that instant, she seemed to overlap with the girl in my memories. She opened the car door for me, and as I looked down, I saw the kitten sitting obediently in its carrier. Seeing me look at the kitten, she smiled and said, since we're going, I thought I'd bring it along to visit the school. I nodded and got into the car. The kitten was very well behaved the whole way, occasionally reaching out a paw to scratch at the mesh of the carrier, as if curious about the scenery outside. I could feel Su Manya's gaze. It would occasionally fall on me, but this time, I no longer felt awkward. Nanxing High was still the same. The stone lions at the gate, the plane trees on the playground, the mottled ivy on the school building's outer wall. Only the people had changed wave after wave. Probably because it was a holiday, the school was nearly empty, so quiet that only the wind and birdsong remained. We crossed the playground, walked past the teaching building, past that corner. I once stood here, listening to her read my script. We went to the broadcasting station. The station now had become spacious and bright, as large as an entire classroom. Brand new equipment, clean walls, completely different from how I remembered it. I suddenly understood that saying, the fear is that when a school is renovated, even memories have nowhere to be found. Su Manya let the kitten out, letting it stretch its legs. The little guy paced the empty floor curiously, tail held high, like a little explorer. We were silent for a while, and then, she pointed to the chair in front of the microphone. Although the environment had changed a lot, the position remained the same. I used to sit right here, reading your scripts. I looked over. Sunlight fell on that empty chair, dust motes floating slowly in the beam of light. Every time I finished reading, I would wonder, what were you thinking when you wrote this today? She turned around, looking at me. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling between us like a golden river. She took a deep breath, as if to say everything she'd buried for years in one go. Jingze, I owe you many explanations, some from 10 years ago, and some from after we reunited. I'm so sorry for not seeing your WeChat message back then, and for not explaining my relationship with Guyu. I was just stubbornly trying to see if you still cared about me, and saying I didn't recognize you at the reunion wasn't true either. I recognized you at first glance. I just didn't know in what capacity I should speak to you. You're a screenwriter. I'm an actress. I didn't want you to think that I wanted to use you to get something." She paused, her eyes casting downward. "I was even more afraid that you had forgotten me. Later, when you said the role would be decided by fan votes, when I saw Tang Xian's votes overtake mine, I truly panicked. I was afraid I would lose you again. When I found your letter at the cat shelter that day, I finally realized that 10 years ago, you had waited for me." Her voice trembled slightly. "Turns out we had both waited for each other." She took a step forward, getting very close to me. "Jingze, I'm not asking for an answer right now. I just want to tell you that I love you. From the age of 17 until now, it has never changed. After 10 years and such a long detour, I finally realized my stubbornness had made me miss what I wanted most. In all these years of acting, what I wanted was never to be a top star or a Best Actress award. I just wanted you to see me. What I wanted, from beginning to end, was always you." I looked at Su Manya, looking at the sunlight behind her, looking at the light in her eyes, looking at the person I had waited 10 years for. My heart was racing, yet felt peaceful, like having traveled a very long road, and finally arriving at the right place.
Su Manya,
"Do you know how long I waited for you at the shelter that day?" She froze for a moment. "From the moment I finished listening to your broadcast, I waited for you there. I waited until dark. I waited until it rained." Her eyes reddened, and she said in a husky voice, "I'm sorry." I shook my head. I told her I didn't want an apology. What happened back then wasn't anyone's fault. It's just that the rain that day soaked my entire youth. On the way back to school in the rain to find you, I thought about so many things, wondering if you hadn't seen my message, wondering if you didn't want to come, wondering if you didn't care at all. But when I reached the classroom door and heard your friend ask why you didn't show up, in that moment, I became terrified. So terrified that I didn't even dare hear your answer. So I hurriedly ran away. Later I thought, forget it. If you don't love me, then you don't. After all, most adolescent crushes end without any result. I looked up, looking into her eyes.
Su Manya,
I spent a long time writing that novel. While writing it, I thought I was saying goodbye to the past, and I truly intended to. That's why I threw away that letter. Unbeknownst to anyone, I decided not to sell the copyright. I tried everything to stay away from you, but I couldn't lie to myself about how my heart reacted. I wrote that book to say goodbye, but also to wait for an answer that was 10 years overdue. Su Manya's tears fell. She didn't wipe them away. She just looked at me and cried. I reached out and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. The moment my fingertips touched her skin, her hand covered mine, gripping my hand, her palm burning hot. "Su Manya, I've waited 10 years for this answer. Don't make me wait this long next time." She froze for a moment, tears still clinging to her cheeks, but then her lips slowly curled up, and then she smiled. But as she smiled, she began to cry again. She pulled me into her arms, holding me tight, as if afraid I'd run away again. Afraid this was just a dream. Not anymore. Her voice was muffled against my ear, trembling with tears, yet firm as if making a vow. Never again. Sunlight fell upon us, warm and cozy. I leaned on her shoulder and closed my eyes. The kitten wandered over at some point, circling around our feet, looking up and meowing. After a long while, I said,
Su Manya,
"Let's give the kitten a name." After adopting the kitten back then, I thought of many names, filling an entire page, but every single one felt like it was missing something, almost like an obsession, because the two of us saved the kitten together. I stubbornly wanted us to decide the name together, so much so that after all these years with me, still didn't have a name. Su Manya thought for a moment, looking down at the kitten rolling at her feet, and said with a smile, "Let's call it Rui." I smiled and nodded. That night, I told Chang Yu about it immediately. He cried with emotion on the other end of the line, telling me, "Jingze, you must be happy." My eyes welled up too. I nodded vigorously, even though he couldn't see me. After hanging up, I logged onto WB. Clips from Su Manya's livestream were still trending. The feed was full of her holding Rui and saying, "Still working on it." Images. For the first time, I felt the urge to say something about the past. So I spent a long time choosing my words, deleting and revising, finally settling on this passage. Regarding the unknown and the recent events, I have a few things to say. That novel was indeed my own story. As for who the female lead was based on, you all probably know by now. I wrote that book, originally to find closure, thinking that once it was finished, I could let it go. But later I realized, some things cannot be let go just by writing them down. Like that year when I was 17, that voice coming through the radio. For instance, the last Friday before the college entrance exam, the rain I waited through all afternoon at the cat shelter. For instance, reuniting 10 years later, her standing before me, the moment my heart skipped a beat. I thought it was a long, secret, one-sided love, only to find out later, it was a mutual love that had strayed from its path. Just 10 years too late, but it's okay. After everything we've been through, the flutter in my heart is still real. After 10 years of wandering, still the same person from the start. The kitten we saved together that year is finally being raised by both of us. The initial regret has finally found its completion. May the rest of our lives be full of happiness. Thank you all for your concern, and thank you to those who spoke up for me. After posting this on WB, I put my phone down. Su Manya was sitting opposite me, holding Rui in one arm and holding her phone in the other. As she read, her eyes grew red again. Then she put Rui down. Her fingers began typing on the phone, with an uncontrollable smile on her lips. Soon, I heard a notification sound. I took a look. She had reposted my WB post, with 2 lines of text. I once let my pride keep my love a secret, but now I want the whole world to know.
Su Manya lobes Lin Jingze.
P.S. Author Lin is about to release a new book. Please keep an eye out for it. After reading it, I couldn't help but look up and locked eyes with her. She was looking at me. Her gaze was as gentle as a thawing spring. Then we both smiled. I put down my phone, picked up Rui, and said,
I'm hungry.
Su Manya also put down her phone, took off her coat, and rolled up her sleeves. Okay, what do you want to eat? I'll cook. Holding Rui, I followed her to the kitchen. As for what storm those 2 WB posts would stir up, it no longer mattered. The night was perfect. Stars began to twinkle outside the window, the cat napping in my arms, the pot simmering and steaming, the person I love right by my side, within arm's reach. What is never forgotten will always find an echo. This mutual crush, delayed for over a decade, has finally found its most perfect ending.